So yeah.
Yeah.
This flies after my life.
I was just thinking, like, for three perfectionists around a table, like with the sound, the flies, like we.
I said, we'll do it outdoors. I was like,
Really?
We created our
we
own
can't
kind
control
of,
things outdoors.
Exactly, our own wreckage, and we're learning how to pivot. Is that a screaming child, though?
Welcome to Nourished by Spinneys, our award-winning show where we bring you conversations to inspire you to eat well and live well. I'm Tiffany Eslick.
And I'm Devina Divecha. We're continuing our conversations with leading players in the food community, from farmers to foodies, as well as health and well-being experts. It's all about engaging conversations and fresh ideas. So, where are we going today?
Today, we are visiting cake designer extraordinaire Nadia Parekh, who also happens to be one of my closest friends. I can't remember when I first met Nadia, but I think she's been making my extravagant birthday cakes for the last 10 years.
That is a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And interestingly, we found out that she actually started her career in clinical psychology. And then after a break, a gap year, she moved over by doing a course at Le Cordon Bleu and took up her passion with pastry, with cakes, launched Mélange in Dubai, which very famous, and has made a comeback and relaunched as Faim, which we will hear a little bit more about in our conversation.
And we'll hear a lot of cake eating as well.
There is a lot of cake eating, and we went to her studio in Business Bay, and yeah, we ate a lot of cake.
Oh, hello, friend.
Okay, since we're talking about cake,
Yes.
let's start talking about baking, which is how we get cake.
Yeah.
We've started.
Yes. We have.
Got it. We have
Ready
started.
to go, guys.
Indeed.
Ready to
Yeah. Yes. Hi, Nadia.
Hi, I thought it would start off
I
with
like to
something
go for like a more
that.
natural, like, yeah.
He's in usually. We don't bother with all of that. We're just like, hey. hi.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
noted.
But yes, we are talking about cake. We're talking about baking. So I think it would be great if you started off with telling us maybe your first memory of baking and when you realized this was something, I enjoy this. Like, I love doing this.
Believe it or not, guys, it started with box cakes. Box
Okay,
cakes and
okay.
box brownies. And I
All
loved
right.
experimenting with those when I was
Nice.
like a kid. And it started with that. And I was very much interested and curious about what would happen when I would mess with the recipe.
Okay, yeah. Yeah.
So I was like, what will happen if I like swap out the milk for like buttermilk?
Okay.
Or if I, add extra salt. So it was the curiosity that really got me going.
Nice.
With my baking journey. Yeah. It was never the aesthetics. It wasn't like, I want to create something really beautiful with
Right.
my hands. And like, it was none of that. It was just like, what would happen if I did this? Or like, if I added this, what would it taste like? Like, would it be, what if I added nuts or if I
Yeah.
added chunks of, so it was very much experimental using the basis of box cakes and box brownies.
Well, I'd love to see
Um,
pictures of like the original box cakes that you
my
made.
mom does have some.
Yeah.
I'll try and get them.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, that's so cool because, sometimes when you think about baking as well, it's a science, it's architecture almost, isn't it? And the fact that you were just like, nah, I'm gonna just do what you would do when you're cooking
Yeah.
and just see what happens. That's very
Yeah.
cool.
Breaking
Yeah.
rules.
Yeah.
That's the good one.
Exactly.
Yes, yeah.
And it was very much like layering flavors, like that love for doing that was there from the very beginning. Like, what if I add peanuts? What if I layer, take it out of its tin and put it on top of a tart shell? You know what I mean? Like, what would happen? What would it taste like? So that curiosity, and I was always a science kid. I always loved science.
I'm getting that image of you, those cartoons where you have that big red button.
Yes.
Like, what happens? It's like,
Yeah, absolutely.
It was like that.
Yeah.
It was actually like that for me when I was a kid. I was like, oh.
Let me press this. I mean, you didn't immediately start studying cooking. So you have a background in psychology and
Yeah.
then went to
Yeah.
Cordon Bleu. Can
Yeah.
you talk us through that?
Yeah, I mean, since the beginning, it was always in my head, okay, this is a hobby. This is a passion. It was never something I thought I would get into as a career. What was my second love? Science. So I was like, okay, let me go down this route, and psychology was something I always enjoyed reading about, was always very fascinated by. So I went to McGill University. I have an honors undergrad degree in clinical psych in the science faculty, basically, psych in the science faculty. So it's very like neurobiology heavy. And I just learned, towards the end of like closer to graduation that loving something and working in that industry are two very different things.
Right.
You can be really good at it academically. You can enjoy reading about it. But when you actually step into the practical field, which is for me with clinical psych, would be working in, mental wards of hospitals. It was very intense and it wasn't really sitting with me very well. And I still remember this so clearly. I was ready to apply for grad school in London for clinical psych. And I was talking to my dad and he was like, what's up? Like, what's going on? What are the next steps?
Yeah.
And I just had like a mental breakdown on the phone. And I was like, I don't know if this is really what I want to do. And I feel like I'm getting myself deeper and deeper into it without really knowing for sure.
Sure, yeah.
And then he's like, well, let me pass the phone to mom.
As they do.
Yeah. And it was actually my mom that convinced me to just be like, look, take a gap year, figure it out. It will always be there if you want to go back to it,
Yeah.
And she's the one who actually really encouraged me to take
that's
on baking professionally and really go for it in the gap year and see what I wanted to do ultimately, right? And of course, my dad followed. He was on board, but he didn't expect my gap year to cost him so much money.
And so it was after that you decided that, hey, I'm going to launch a business. I'm going to open like a brand in itself.
No.
Okay.
That part, because I've never had a business background. Right?
Okay,
It's not really... I never studied it. I don't think I'm ultimately extremely good at it.
I beg to differ.
What?
It
It was never my forte.
Okay.
I think because I didn't have that background in it, I always was like, oh, I don't know how to do it, or I'm not a natural at it and I don't know what I'm doing. So I actually worked in kitchens for a while. So I worked in London for a while as a commie in like Sheraton Park Lane, helping them with the afternoon tea menu, really learning. And then in William Curley's Chocolatier, also did a placement there to learn more about chocolate and to really understand what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
Or which part of pastry I wanted to get into, because there's a lot of different branches, right? Like there's bakery, there's actual pastry, and then there's like chocolate as well, which is its own specialty, So I was just testing out what I could do, and then ultimately moved back home and got a job at Fairmont the Palm. So worked my way up there. I was there for just under 2 years. And that's when, again, encouraged by my family, to be honest. They've always been there to sort of nudge me in the direction I know I want to go in, but I'm like too scared to really take the step. But yeah, they really supported. They were like, try it. What's the worst that can happen? Again, the same conversation we were having with the gap year. And so I was like, okay, let me try it out. Let me start a brand and see what happens,
And did you know from the get-go that Mélange would be bespoke cakes to start with? Or had you decided then what you really loved about pastry?
No, to answer your question, perfectly honestly, no.
Yeah.
Bespoke cakes was not on my radar because all the training I did was very dessert related. So like plated desserts, buffet desserts, so like the smaller sort of canapé style desserts.
Yeah.
So when I started Mélange, actually, I was doing catering. That's how it started when I was 23. Because that's what I was trained in.
Yeah.
Right. So I was okay, let me at least do what I know I'm good at first and test out the market and see what sells, what doesn't sell, what the people want. Because ultimately, even in the market, I didn't really understand because Dubai anyway is such an ever-changing market that things shift all the time. So I was like, let me just start and let me see where the market pushes me. And so that's how it started. And then I realized slowly that with the catering orders, every now and then, because it would be an occasion always, right? Your catering parties. So they would ask for like a small cake or something like that with the order, the whole, buffet dessert order. And I realized soon that like this one cake, the margin that I got off it profit-wise and the time it took me to make would be much less, and the profit margin much, much more. Then that whole range of like little dessert and different flavors and all that I was doing, I was like, okay, I have to be realistic. I'm a one-woman show right now. I don't have a full-on kitchen and team and all that to cater larger events.
Yeah.
So why don't I see what's out there with cakes, And it was something that I'm really self-taught in because I didn't train in cakes.
Right.
And it's a whole other category of desserts that I think people overlook.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I was very much trained in French techniques. So I knew how to make entremets, and all that came very naturally to me, like mousses and jams and, fillings in that regard, glazing, all that. But I'm like, you know what? The market over here doesn't really understand that yet. They want cakes. What they saw as cakes, or what was familiar to them as cakes, was like those American style layered cakes. And I was like, well, why don't I take everything I've learned in terms of like sponges and mousses and fillings and buttercreams and ganache and turn it into something that's familiar for the market.
Right.
So you get those flavors of the French techniques and all that coming through, very refined, very elevated flavor profiles, but in a form that people can relate to.
Yeah. Wow.
I think I've been buying your cakes since we can't even remember anymore. But I remember, I just remember discovering your cakes and thinking, oh my goodness, these are incredible. Because you were ahead of your time in the market as well. And
I got my foot in the door at a good time, I think.
And you have, and still do, a signature look, and taste. And it was perfect. Everything has been perfect.
It was the goal with Mélange. And I was very much like, no, it has to look perfect and be perfect and go out perfect. And even the bespoke cakes, I'm like, no, that's not quite right. I need to, shift it here. So it was very much like, it needs to be perfect, and that was always in my head. I'm like, it's Mélange, it needs to be perfect. So that was kind of the narrative I had going in my head for Mélange,
Was there, obviously doing something and almost trying it out as an experiment and seeing how it goes, and also doing it at a really young age. Was there anything you underestimated about getting into this business, like launching something as a food entrepreneur?
Yes.
That takes us a big,
was
a big question.
Yes. To answer your question, yes. I really never fully saw the bigger picture of starting Mélange means it automatically makes you an entrepreneur. Right? For me, it was always like, oh, I want to create cool things. I want to play with flavors. I want to like serve the best desserts, But obviously, it's a package deal. You're running a business. You know what I mean? So the entrepreneur part of it was something that really did scare me because I didn't feel supported in that front because I didn't have a background in it. I wasn't confident in it. There was no one in my family really that had really dabbled in food that could really help me on that front. So I had to really just learn myself, Just not a bad thing, but it just means that there was a lot of mistakes made along the way, which is also fine. But so what I underestimated was exactly that, because I was like, oh, I want to create these awesome desserts. But it's a business. So that gets very connected with things like operations and numbers and partnerships and the pressure of once you get a team, you have to pay their salaries. So it does, you have to really consciously remember that you did this for a reason and not let that, keep that boundary, of course, because it is a business. Ultimately, you are running a company, but it does get very entangled in that. And when it comes to the creative side, look, I think with any business and also any job, there is no escaping being boxed in to a certain extent. Because, okay, great, I started my company and the logo, the brand, everything was what I wanted. And even the products. But then the market puts you, it pushes you down a road.
Right, yeah.
And for me, that was cakes. And I love it, don't get me wrong. But at the same time, okay, what am I doing? I'm making structured cakes, right? So my sponge can't be completely soft. It has to have some sort of stability, right? It's being transported all over UAE. So, it needs to be able to be transported and hold its weight, at the same time. Okay, on top of that, temperature-wise, right? UAE is very tricky in that regard. So, the buttercream or the ganache, it needs to be not so temperature sensitive, So, ultimately, the box, the packaging you're putting it in. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So it's like you are at some level always boxed in with your creativity.
Right.
Mhm.
You can't do anything you want
Yeah.
because it's just not practical.
Yeah.
So yeah, like the creativity does have to be, what's the word? Like shaped.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But I also think that that is creativity in itself.
Mm.
Yeah.
To figure out how to do that is
Yeah.
also a skill and creativity. Like, okay, well, these are all my barriers.
Yeah.
I need to find something that fits in that.
Yeah.
You know, that in itself is also having to pivot on the spot and having to really like be creative about how you're going to execute what you want in a way that is also still practical.
Yeah.
So
Makes sense.
it's a different kind of creativity,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but it's still creativity. You have
Yeah.
to use your head and come up with,
Absolutely.
a solution.
Problem
Yeah.
solving.
Yeah.
So exactly. There's a lot of different types of creativity is also another thing I learned, you know? So
And I think if you're talking about that, I mean, Mélange has had this incredible story and you've become this much loved brand and everybody in the UAE has ordered your cakes. But within that beautiful journey, there was a massive challenge as well. And being your friend, I know I've been along for the ride on this, but watching you pivot, you've clearly built those skills because, and we can talk about the massive challenge, but from what ultimately could have been a terrible downfall, you have created something super new and exciting and pushing more boundaries and even more creative.
so yeah, Mélange closed and there were a bunch of court cases due to a partnership issue. And I had to pivot because this was my bread and butter, right?
Yeah.
I didn't have anything else going on the side to make me money. Or to work. I mean, obviously, like money is one thing, but also keeping your mind busy and working
Yeah.
is also really important. I needed to pivot once again. Like COVID was one, and then this was the next sort of big pivot because I lost the brand name. I lost the website, so I lost the accessibility to sale.
Right.
I lost the social media for a while as well. So reaching customers was another, challenge. So I was like, well, what can I do? This is my skill. This is what I do for a living, So I need to pivot. And that meant basically downsizing when it came to the B2C website sales, which was the biggest chunk of our sales. And being like, okay, like we focus more on bespoke.
Yeah.
Okay. Because those orders anyway come directly to me.
Yeah.
Because the whole process of doing custom cakes requires, my assistance to create that, cake.
Yep.
So, and consulting, focus more on B2B. So, and that's what I did. And it obviously was a bit slow in the beginning, but ultimately that picked up because once word spreads in the market, word of mouth, you start to get more attention in that regard. And then I also actually got a job. So I was doing all that on the side. And then I was also working a full-time job, which I'm also really grateful for. It's BD, basically business development at Richemont, which is the region's first bakery and pastry school.
Right.
And so, yeah, I started doing some business development for them. And that really taught me structure. It really honed my skills because I'd never worked in a corporate environment before. And it was an insecurity of mine.
Sure.
So it was something that I thought I was lacking to help me get to the next stage of being an entrepreneur and being a good businesswoman, So it was really like truly a blessing that I got this job and was able to hone those skills as well in the meantime and really use the wreckage of what happened to better myself in some way.
I think the word wreckage is such a good way of describing everything. But
what it felt like.
disaster in the world. All those things. But I'm so excited for this new brand because you've taken your anger, you've taken defiance, you've taken your excitement and your creativity, and Faim has come back and it's this bold, vibrant, edgy,
It is.
sassy brand. Let's talk about this. Like, are you feeling like you're going through those stages? What are they called?
Five stages.
Yeah.
Literally. So while I was going through that, identity crisis.
Yeah.
And grieving Mélange, something that I'd had, for a decade of my life and made me, money since I was 23. It was kind of like all I knew at that point. I went through all the stages, and I would love to say that Faim was the result of, all those stages and acceptance at the end, but it really wasn't. It definitely started in stage 1, which was like anger and rage. And it really I came up with the concept then.
Yeah.
And I was like ready to go. I was like, I don't care. I'm launching this brand now. And it's such a cool concept. And I did the shoot with all my friends, and really sort of the shoot was all about let them wear cake as opposed to let them eat cake.
Yeah.
It was very much that storytelling aspect of getting across how emotional, dessert can be, and how it's supposed to eating it is supposed to make you feel something. But it was definitely, I came up with the concept in stage 1, which was anger. And I'm so glad that, I wasn't able to launch the brand while I was in that state of mind.
Okay.
I'm so glad that I had to wait. Circumstances forced me to have to wait. I was really frustrated about it at the time. But now looking back, I'm like, wow, that would have been a really bad idea to launch a brand in that state of mind.
Yeah.
Because again, then you're making emotional decisions, right?
Yeah.
You're not level-headed. You haven't actually learned the lessons that you need to learn in order to do it better the second time around. It was just me, digging my heels in, being stubborn about it, and being like, no, I will launch this now.
Yeah.
And my lawyer's like, well, you can't.
Literally. The law stopped you.
Yeah, literally. So the whole idea of Faim stemmed from that.
And let's talk flavors now.
Yeah, let's talk about the brand.
Yeah.
What it's about.
How
would you describe it?
How did you get the name?
Yeah, all
Hungry in French.
Everything. So Faim means hunger in French. And I think for me, it wasn't so much about appetite. I know people are going to be like, oh, hunger, it's all about eating cake and but it wasn't that. It wasn't that for me. It just so happened that, okay, Faim means something to do with food. So great. I mean, better. But for me, it was more about wanting more, just coming hungry and wanting more.
Yeah.
More truth, more flavor, more, emotional layering, more nostalgia, more of everything, more design. So it was just that's where it stemmed from. And I wanted to continue on the path of mélange was also a French word, and ultimately I trained in French techniques and also worked in a lot of French kitchens, So I was like, okay, let me take that forward, because I didn't want to leave that behind entirely, because that's also part of my training, part of, how I think of desserts as well.
Yeah.
So I wanted to come up with another French sort of word and name, and it just worked. And I think one mistake I made with Mélange was not many people knew how to pronounce it. So when they looked at it, they would say, "Oh, Mélange."
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
And I was like,
fun.
that doesn't sound so good.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, well, at least with Faim, when people look at it, they're like, "Oh, Faim."
Yeah.
And I'm like, I can live with that.
Okay.
I can live with Faim.
You can live with Faim. Good.
Let's talk more about the flavors. What can we expect from the new brand? What do we get once we walk in the doors?
So Faim is definitely a lot edgier, as you guys said, right? So, and there was a definitely a conscious effort on my part to involve a little bit more fashion, a little bit more people into this brand.
Okay.
Mostly because the whole point was to, in some shape or form, bring these cakes to life almost,
Okay.
Like I said before, because it should feel like something when you eat them, and for me it does. I'm constantly chasing nostalgia when it comes to flavors and flavor pairings, and when it comes to design, I really wanted to, like I said, bring them to life in some way, right? And I think that when you do shoots with incorporating fashion, which is also again very storytelling and expressive, right? A similar way that I see cake design. And I thought that the pairing of those two together would be such a good complementing way to tell that story. So I think more of everything for Faim, more flavor, more design, more rebellion, and I think also the added layer of not having to be perfect.
Mhm.
You know, like
Okay.
Mélange was very soft and elegant and polite, and Faim is almost, saltier and a little bit, more rebellious and more real. More relatable for me right now.
And so great that you get to express this other side of you as well,
Yeah, 100%.
and show your growth.
Yeah.
What trends are you kind of looking at the moment? I know you said you're based in nostalgia, but do you keep an eye on cake trends? And I guess that goes with your inspiration as well. Are you looking at travel, fashion, all this kind of thing? Yeah. What's trending? Where are you getting that inspo? And what are you leaving behind or ignoring?
That's a lot of questions.
Yes,
So-
sorry. I'm taking one at a time. I have a habit of doing that.
What's trending? Okay,
Yeah.
so when it comes to trending, I think where most that comes into play is in the bespokes
Mhm.
and the design aspect, right? And I think right now what I'm seeing is actually less,
Mhm.
which I'm actually really excited about, because I think that people in food generally, and I think it's reflecting in cakes as well, just less,
Mhm.
less, less overcomplicating, less formal. It's always nice when dessert or food generally, right? Doesn't always need a spotlight, but it's elevated flavor wise, and it also belongs on your kitchen table. You know what I mean? So I like that people are getting less fussy about stuff and less formal and going more casual, but still with elevated flavor pairings. So I'm really liking this direction that food is going in. Because I don't like overcomplicated. And when you ask, like, what am I leaving behind? I'm leaving that behind. I don't want to overcomplicate things.
Yeah.
If it tastes good with just a sponge and a filling, then so be it, because that's the quarantine cake.
Yeah.
And if it's a flavor pairing or a creation that I think needs a lot more layers and different textures, then we go all out with it, but
Yeah.
I'm kind of letting it just be what it is.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying too hard to make it specifically into something that, with Mélange, I was very fussy about that. I was like, it needs to have the crunch, then it needs to have the, the sweetness balance, it needs to have the salt, I'm like, okay, just let it be what it is. If it tastes good, it tastes good. Why do you have to overcomplicate it on purpose, So I think that growth also is reflected in the way I live life, where I'm very much like, just let it be.
Yeah.
Put one foot in front of the other and go with it,
Psych student Nadia would be very proud of the current Nadia, I think. All this amazing growth,
I think 2 years ago, Nadia would also be really grateful that
yeah.
we're not in that place anymore.
No, absolutely.
And so, apart from this, are you still holding your full-time job with Richemont? Or
Oh,
you are? Okay.
Did you know she's all about doing less?
Yes. I was going to say, wait a second.
Doing the most with my time, though.
Okay.
Honestly, I'm really loving it. So I figured, you know what, I'm gonna do it as long as I can do it. I don't want to let go of it right now, because I'm still learning so much from it. And it's kind of like by day learning structure and trying to really master that aspect. And when I come to the studio at night, it's like buttercream, like a different kind of creativity, which helps put that boundary for me as well, like that that barrier that I need as well, because I know that without this, I will lose my creative outlet, and I need that.
Yeah.
And I know that without Richemont, there will be a ceiling in how much I can progress when it comes to business, and it comes to because I'm learning so much from that. I'm learning so much structure, and
which you're able to apply.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So why let go of either?
Yeah.
Let's see how long I can. I can keep this up, guys. But it's for now it's working, and I'm really happy with both. So I'm enjoying myself. And Richemont was a huge gift that came out of this whole thing, because I would have never had a chance to take on a full-time job had I not lost Mélange.
Yeah.
So I think looking back as well, it's just it was a blessing that it came to me. So why leave it?
Yeah.
Why not hold on to it?
Yeah.
So.
And in terms of learnings, would you say, because that is a big learning, and in this whole process, do you feel healed now? Is there anything that's still tender from the closing of your business?
Trust.
Yeah.
The trust aspect is definitely still tender, with with people, with partnerships, with scaling without losing myself.
Yeah.
That's still tender. But what's healed is definitely that confidence and that belief, that knowing that I don't need a brand.
Yeah.
You know, like I don't need the name.
Yeah.
I'm good at what I do. And I think the belief in that was something that was lacking, you know? And I think that learning that, like I was out of a brand for 2 years. I didn't have Mélange for 2 years, right? I was working just under my own personal name. And I got by. And now, like, I think that was a big thing because people were asking me, like, are you relaunching as Mélange? Like, we're so excited for Mélange to come back. And I was like, yeah, you know, like any business person you talk to would be like, why would you let go of a brand name that has a reputation and has a history and all that? And I was like, well, I haven't had it for 2 years anyway.
Yeah.
So why not take this opportunity to rebrand, you know, leave behind all that feels a bit tainted.
Yeah.
And it's okay. Nothing's going to happen. You know what I mean? Like, you don't need the name.
Yeah.
You know,
It doesn't define you. And
so that part feels very healed, you know, where I'm just like, okay, I can do this, you know, like I don't need the name to do, you know, to do what I do. I do it well and I can do it under any name.
Yeah.
So
I remember one of our beach walks and it was when you'd lost the social media.
And before they put up the hoarding.
Yeah, before they put up the hoarding and our lives, you know, another wreckage. We're in mourning because we can't get onto our favorite beach.
Oh, okay.
But I remember you
Literally.
say, you know, the small thing with the brand, but I said so many people are going to support you, you know, and
everyone else was sure of it. I was.
that must be so encouraging, you know, like that's the thing we were all saying. They know you, they know your cakes. And so you had built this amazing reputation.
So with all these learnings as well that you've had over the last few years, has what success means changed for you as well, like through this process?
Yeah. I think now I think of success very much as I do happiness.
Yeah.
I think it's a state of mind. And I don't think it's a destination or a milestone. And I think that, you know, it's very evident in everyday things. And I think that's how you need to look at it to be happy in life. Because you have to open your eyes and see it. It does happen every day. You know, someone digs into your cake and feels something. That's success for me. You know, so it's in these little things that I've had to teach myself that, no, success is not like, oh, when I do that, then I'll feel successful. It's not like that. It's like happiness, you know, it's like, it's in everyday things and you have to open your eyes and really see it. That's kind of how I see success now. And I think just the peace of mind of being able to do work that feels true to you and on your own terms. I don't think there's any greater success. I really do think that that's ultimately, you know, what everyone should be aiming for.
I know that your cakes nourish my soul. I look forward to every year of my birthday cake or, you know, just the odd order.
I know.
But I'm interested, what nourishes your soul?
Yeah, it's a very, I obviously knew I'd be asked this question. And I was like, what do I say?
Are you going to go deep?
Exactly. Because there's so many different things. Even just the sound of butter hitting a pan is just like, oh, I love it, you know? Like I said, like, you know, someone digging into cake, feeling something. But I think, you know, travel also really nourishes my soul. I think ultimately, really, what really truly does heal my soul is knowing that turning the wreckage into something sweet really makes me feel like, okay, you know, like that really does nourish my soul. And yeah.
Great.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Should we taste some cake?
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
Have it waiting.
Are we going to bring it outside or should we? Let's go inside, I think.
Let's go inside.
Okay, so I think I'll cut one slice of each, right?
Yeah. So what is this flavor?
Okay, so this is the birthday cake, okay? A very, very popular flavor.
Okay.
So first came quarantine.
Yeah.
Okay, this obviously was released in quarantine.
Yeah.
And was super popular. And I was always just like, no, I have to get another flavor that beats this flavor. Just couldn't do it. Every flavor after flavor, nothing would beat the caramel until birthday cake.
Okay.
So this is a very
Love
special
that.
flavor to me because it finally surpassed the sale of the quarantine.
Okay. And this
So,
is
yeah.
your smallest size, right?
Yeah, it is. It is.
Cool.
How many was this?
A lot of
Was that
eight people, 6
Okay.
to 8 people.
Yeah.
But a lot of people are just like, can you please do smaller cakes? And I'm like, you know what, guys? Like, it's it's really a pain to go smaller. Like, honestly.
In the spirit of authenticity and real, no.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, no, like this is what my brand is all about.
Can I ask the
I don't
question
care
that
about what you
everybody's been asking on social media? Like, when
Oh.
are slices coming back?
That was ridiculous. Like
Yeah.
I launched on the weekend, okay,
Yeah.
on the Friday. I relaunched after 2 years.
Yeah.
Okay. And literally 2 days in, it's like all the customers are like, oh, where are the slices? I'm like, I just relaunched my brand after 2 years. Give me a minute. You know? They're
Take some
coming.
time.
They're coming. Like, They're
but I
coming.
love like the sass in your answers because it's friendly but sassy, you know. So
it is. It's very, honestly, it's very relatable for me right now where I'm like, I don't care if you want slices. I'm not ready to launch.
Yeah.
Okay? When I am, they'll be out. Like,
Yeah.
so this, of course, is the salted caramel,
Okay.
which is probably, I would say, my most well-known flavor.
Yeah.
Gosh, see that.
Have you
So
stopped
good.
getting requests for those crazy like meringue and raspberry cakes that you were having to churn out? Like
Which
you know,
ones?
the sort of giant.
Oh no, those are still going.
Oh,
That
they're still
trend,
going. Okay,
that
yeah.
trend is still going strong. By the
Yeah.
way, in fact,
That looks-
now the Tiffany's like, I can't
I'm like,
focus
that
on
looks-
it.
Yeah.
You're saying something? What?
Smell it.
No, that trend is still going strong. Those 1 meter cakes. Now it's actually become even more difficult
Oh,
because now they want like garland cakes.
Okay.
Those
Yeah.
really long ones, like
Ah.
1 meter long garland
Wow,
cakes.
that's a lot of work.
It's it's the logistics
Yeah,
of these cakes.
sure.
Actually, that's the more frustrating part. It's not actually the workload because you can only go so crazy with the decor, right?
Yeah.
Because it's more of a flat cake,
Yeah.
right? But the logistics of it makes up for that nightmare because it is just so difficult. Like to transport, to make sure it stays straight,
Yeah,
to get
exactly.
out the door sometimes, you know, like
Yeah.
yeah. Okay. The last one, I'm just gonna ask you guys to pass that to me around
I
here.
love
We'll
the
do like a
package.
swap.
These are called like Victorian cakes, right? This sort of
Yes.
style. Okay.
Yeah. They're
Yeah, I was
more
just saying that I just wanna
vintage.
Vintage.
do
Yeah.
You
that.
can.
Yeah.
I think you should.
No, I don't want to spoil it. It's so pretty.
It's a good idea to happen.
So this is olive oil, lemon, mixed berry,
Oh wow.
and mascarpone.
Oh, wow.
So this is a new flavor
Mhm.
actually. So
Oh, I
those
can
two are
see.
very OG sort of ones that people are really happy to get back.
Oh,
Oh,
nice.
look at that.
This is like
Very nice.
yeah.
Stunning.
So yeah.
Do you have a favorite?
Pretty. Oh my
Or
god.
your cake babies?
Guys. Okay, but a favorite what? Like a favorite to eat or a favorite like
Let's say to eat, to look at.
And to bake.
God, to bake. I really do enjoy making this new flavor that I'm gonna show you guys now, which is the peanut chocolate caramel cake. Just because it has so many components to it. And I love that. Like I love that there's a lot going on. But at the same time, the flavor itself is very mainstream, very like familiar, again, very nostalgic. But I really do enjoy making that cake.
Okay. What do
Yeah.
you like to eat
What do I like most to eat?
in terms of
You
your
know,
cakes?
guys, I think the caramel for me, the
Okay.
salted caramel is just something that's, but again, it really does depend what mood I'm in.
Yeah.
It really does depend. If I really want that crunch, then the birthday cake.
Sure.
If I'm feeling a little bit like I want something lighter, more citrusy, it's very difficult to pick
Yeah.
Yeah.
a favorite,
Yeah.
you know? But please dig in.
Yes.
Yes.
Trying to capture. You're right there.
You know, I don't take advantage of this friendship enough. Like, even while she was like relaunching, I could have been getting
Do you want me to hold this?
Oh, that's
every week.
Yeah, you could have. But I mean, I'm not sure that would have been great for your house.
Yeah. Oh, that's so good. That crunch.
The crunch, right? It depends. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Like, it's cake. It's messy. So, yeah.
I do want to do one day, like your current social kind of video that you've got out, where someone's just putting their hand in the cake. I want to do that. Like I've seen it from Matilda, you know, with like the
It's actually very fun. And like when I got my friends in to help me with that shoot, they were all like, do you mean that we literally can just go in? And I'm like, go wild. And they're like, we've never done this before. I'm like, I know. It's like this childhood urge, I think, that everyone has. They just want to like,
yeah, absolutely.
and they got to do it. And they were like, this was a great shoot.
It's cathartic.
Right?
Yeah.
It's nostalgic.
And it's not overly sweet. It's such a great balance.
So that's something that I really do try to do, you know, like I really do, because I've always loved a bit of saltiness with my sweets. So this is something that I really am very passionate about. Like all of my recipes have salt somewhere. Because I think that it needs it. And it brings out the flavor, not just sugar, not just the sugar flavor, but the actual depth of flavor comes through only with salt when you add a bit of salt.
Do you want to try the salted
Falling out of it.
The best thing in the world. Now that I'm tasting it.
This is indulgent.
Yeah.
Like it's definitely indulgent.
Definitely,
Yeah.
Double caramel. Yeah.
salted caramel is really good.
But again, salted.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Needs it.
Yeah. Oh, hello, friend.
All right. I'll put that down. I will taste it afterwards, guys.
Okay.
Or maybe right at the end. You know.
Like when you're not on camera, so you'd have to chew.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, I need to.
This looks so pretty.
Yeah, that is pretty.
So it's like an
Beautiful.
olive oil sponge
Oh, that's
and
delicious.
lemon curd, mixed berry, and mascarpone.
I like the tartness of that lemon curd coming.
You always like the tartness.
Yeah.
It's your favorite, I think, flavor combo.
Honestly, the older I'm getting, the more bitter and tart things I like. Yeah.
Yep.
This
Isn't
is
that
really
beautiful?
nice. It feels light as well.
It does.
It doesn't even feel heavy.
It's the sponge that makes it light. The sponge is really aerated. Like we whip this for like half an hour.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, before we add any dry ingredients or any other ingredients to it. The egg and the sugar whips for a good like half an hour.
Delicious. It's really good.
Yes.
This is Tip's favorite flavor profile.
Yeah. Yum. Thank you.
Thank you for
Sure. I'm going to dig in as well, guys.
Yes, please do. Before we end this episode, we have one more surprise from Nadia, which is her new cake, Savage, which is salted peanut, chocolate, and caramel cake, which we got to watch her finish up. It will be up on our YouTube channel soon, so definitely subscribe if you want to have a look.
You know, the time... bloopers?
I have a moment where I'm like, I think we're going to call you next week and be like, we need to read it again.